Hello, Flosstube friends. This is Flosstube number 71. Today is February the 6th, 2026, I believe. We're hoping. There's something on my screen and it looks like I've got a giant booger. If you are the first time visiting here, welcome. I hope that you enjoy our visit today. And if you're returning, thank you for coming back. I've had a good bit of new subscribers, so thank you all for coming along. My name is Kylie. I am So What Stitcher, and I am so glad that you're here today. I'm going to warn you, I have been sick. So my voice is going to be crackly. I'm going to cough, whatever. Just be aware of that. So what are we going to talk about today on Flosstube? We're going to go over my last month's stitch in progress. We're going to go over, I have got 2 finishes. I've got a new start, and then I've got an oldie, but one that everybody loves to see. And then I've got my stitching plans for the month of February. So we've got quite a bit to cover. This is going to be a little bit more of a chatty video than what I normally do because I have got time today. And I didn't have a video last week, so I got a lot to catch you guys up on. So there we go. Let's dive into it. Okay, let's kind of recap what happened in January. So in January, I decided that I really wanted to get back to stitching, and I wanted to make some goals of things to keep me motivated. I'm the type person that if the goal is too strict, I'm a perfectionist, and if I can't do it 100%, I quit. So that doesn't work. I'm also the type person that I like to track. If I track, the tracking in and of itself is the motivation for me to get it done, because once I have a streak of doing it, I don't want to break the streak. I know that sounds crazy, but there you have it. So let's talk about Whip Go first of all for January. I did achieve my goals for that. I'm just using a little bitty notebook this year because it fits in my handheld planner that goes with me everywhere. I can shove this in my purse. So this just slides inside there. And so it makes it really easy because it's got all the rest of my life in that book. So my goal for Whip Go is at least 500 stitches. I have done more than 500 stitches on all of these. Like this one was a new start and a finish that I'm going to show you in just a minute. And then this one, I've got, the time I recorded it was 522 stitches, but I have stitched way more than that. So I meet my goal if I do at least 500 stitches on it. I'm sure that the numbers for February have already been called. I haven't been on there to look at it to see, but I will look at that here in a little bit. So I'm on goal for Whip Go this month. The next thing was Baringo. I started out really good during the month, and then as the month went on, things just got really crazy. I was in Oklahoma City last week. Last week, yeah. And so my days, I did not realize how packed my days were going to be. It was literally, I had to be downstairs each morning at 7 a.m. And then I was not back up in the room until 10 or 10:30 at night. And we only had enough time. We had, I think, 3 or 4 30-minute breaks in between everything. And by time, it was downstairs in the giant hotel, the Omni Hotel at Oklahoma City. And so by the time you went out, went up to your room, freshened up, used the restroom, and got back down there, it took you the whole 30 minutes because there was so many people trying to get on the elevator and off the elevator. So I had no time to do anything extra. Our flight was a bit of a mess. We were leaving out on Tuesday to get there early because I had had surgery, 4 weeks ago. And I was like, I didn't know how I was going to react to that. And it was right after the snowstorm here in North Carolina that we got that was huge. We had the snowstorm. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and our flight was on Tuesday. So they didn't cancel our flight, but we were there very early, and we all got loaded on the plane, and there was no water. It had froze, so maintenance had to come out and try to break that loose. And then they got that done, and they discovered they had backed us off of the landing area to get on the turnpike and discovered there was an issue with the engine. So they unloaded all of us, and our flight was I left my house at 4 a.m. and our flight was supposed to leave at 8 o'clock in the morning, I think it was. So obviously everybody on that plane was trying to find new flights. So we could not get a flight out. We were supposed to be going to St. Louis, Missouri, staying there for a 2-hour layover, and then going into Oklahoma City. And we were supposed to be in Oklahoma City by like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which was where our conference was. But we ended up getting flights to Dallas, Texas. And then we flew out of Dallas, Texas to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we were sitting in the airport all day. Our flight was not until 4:30 in the afternoon to Dallas. And then by the time we got to Dallas, we literally, everybody was already loaded on the airplane. We come out of Dallas. We went around a gate to the next gate, and we were there when she was making last call for boarding. It was that close. It was an insane day. And so by the time we landed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I still had to drive from Tulsa to Oklahoma City that night. And I did not know. Okay, so let me say, in North Carolina, we're spoiled. Like, they scrape our roads, they sand our roads, they salt our roads. And yes, primary roads are first, but it's usually within a day or two that our secondary roads are getting at least some kind of attention. In Oklahoma City, it is not that way. So no secondary roads was getting any attention at all. So here we are, landed in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was 10:30 at night, I think it was. 10 or 10:30 at night. I come out of the airport, got a rental car. We drove from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Oklahoma City. It was about an hour and a half drive. And remember, I had been up since 4 a.m. And all of this, I was exhausted. So Justin had slept in the floor of the airport for several hours and slept on the flight to Dallas, Texas for several hours. So he was rejuvenated, but I was struggling to stay awake. And there was black ice on the roads, and we were fishtailing in this rental car. And oh my gosh, by the time we got to Oklahoma City to the hotel, it was 20 minutes after midnight. So it was a day. So I'd been up a little, 4 hours short of 24 hours. So I was up for 20 hours, which is not like me, and not like me after surgery at all. It was definitely a push. But we slept so good that night in the hotel, and got up and had a breakfast. I had avocado toast with an egg on top and a drink. And he had, what do you have, 2 scrambled eggs with some sausage on it. It was $65 because we got room service. But I was like, I was too tired. I was like, I called my husband. I'm like, I got to get home. I'm spending too much money too fast. I got to come home. Because again, we weren't expecting to get a rental car. We weren't expecting to do breakfast, but it worked out. And I was thankful to the Lord that we had everything that we needed. It was good. It was fun. But anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but that is the reason why things went to pot for Baringo, okay? That was the whole point of me telling you that story. So I got to stitch maybe 30 minutes, and all of that time, once we got to Oklahoma City, I did stitch in the airport during the day that we were laid over. I'm going to show you that. I had a new start. And then I stitched some on the plane, but it wasn't huge amounts. Again, there was a lot of nighttime flying that wasn't anticipated, and folks were trying to rest. So I was trying to be respectful and not have the light on for everybody else. But anyway, so that was a long story. But here's what we got done for Baringo. I got all of them done except 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had 3 Baringos. And this was so much fun. I made my board. I numbered it. And then when they called the prompt for the day, I figured out what piece I was going to stitch. I did come in and like put the date. Like this was the 121. And the prompt was remind you of growth, so that I could, you know what to do. So I didn't get 5 of them done, but I was still very pleased. That's a lot of stitching. So it was a fun game. So I decided, okay, games do work well, so I need to try to do something like that, you know, in February. And then if you'll remember, when I got back to recording more frequently, I told you that I was going to do a roll of dice a day for Up on the Housetop. And from 12:31 to 1:11, I did that very good. So here's all the stitches that I did. These were what was rolled, and this is what I actually did on it. So that was a good 12 focus days of getting stuff done on that piece. And then I did a thread a day, Frosty Tiny Town, again from 12:31 to 1:11. The goal was to do at least one thread a day. And so I did all of those, and so that worked out. And then on Log Cabin Christmas, my goal was to do 30 minutes a day from 12:31 to 1:10, and I did do every day there. So I got that one done. Well, I didn't finish that one, but that was, I did a lot of stitching in January is the point of what I'm saying. Even though the last week of January was kind of shot, I still ended up getting some finishes out of it. And then I have a plan for February, which I think is progress for me because I'm actually sticking to some stitching goals. So super excited about that. Okay, so let's dive into finishes before we go into plans for February. So this was a new start in January. On January the 31st, I didn't know the deal with a blessing sampler was that you were supposed to start it and finish it in January. So I was up at midnight on January 31st trying to get this one done. And I didn't get it done until the couple of hours into February the 1st. But I'm still counting it as done because I started it late in January. And then I didn't know until the 31st that you were supposed to have it done in January. So I'm so excited about it. This does have mistakes in it. Right here, I miscounted. This line was supposed to go all the way across. And I miscounted, and so I couldn't do it. So I just stopped that little line right there. But other than that, I'm very pleased with it. This was such a fun stitch. This was my first sampler, my first red sampler, my first blessing sampler. And I already have another sampler picked out to replace it. I'll show it to you real quick, because this will be one that I'm starting. I showed you the fabric and stuff on another one. I'll try to link it, but oh, here it is. Here is the next one that I'm doing, and it's in Honeysuckle Manor by Blackbird Designs. So this is the one I'm doing next. So I'll be starting that one this week. But I never thought I'd be a sampler stitcher, but here I am. I have got so many screenshots on my phone of other teeny tiny samplers that people have done. There is one that has a snowman on it. I think there's a Valentine's one. My list keeps growing. So I'm ruined now, and I'm definitely a sampler stitcher. So I'm excited about that one. That one was so much fun to stitch too. That was my first piece stitching with silk too. All right, the next one I finished is Frosty Tiny Town. Sorry. I do not have the buttons on it yet. I can't decide if I want to put the buttons on it or if I don't. I did do some color changes for the greens, but I don't remember what they were. Oh, I'm just looking at, I've got like 6 more stitches right here in the white of this tree I gotta do. Oops, I missed them. But it is done. I love it. We had about 8 inches of snow weekend before last, and then this last weekend it snowed again. So I got a lot of time stitching on this one. It was fun. Hold on, I gotta cough again. Okay. This is gonna kill me. So that is done. Done. So the next one I worked on is Winter Mugs. This was in Just Cross Stitch Magazine, February 2023. Here's what it looks like. Cozy Winter Mugs. I had this one done because I was going to try to kick it out on the plane. That did not happen. Coughing. So I got some of that blue filled in right there. That's all I got done on it. That plan did not go according to plan. But it's all good. So that's what I got done on it. I do want to try to put some focus on this one to doing like 30 minutes a day to get this one done. I have a hot chocolate bar in my house, and that one will be really cute to put with it. Okay, the next one was a new start in the Charlotte airport. This is a freebie by Silver Creek Samplers. Do Everything in Love. I'm sorry it's not a color pattern. But I felt so bad. So we were on the plane, and they had fixed the frozen water, and then they discovered the issue with the engine, and the pilot, he was like, I'm sorry, we're going to have to cancel this flight. It's just not safe to fly with this engine issue. And just the reaction of the people on the plane getting so mad, it broke my heart, because I'm like, I thank you, Lord, that we didn't find out about this engine problem when we're in the air. I would much rather be safe than be sorry, right? I was grateful that we didn't take off, because I didn't want to crash in a plane crash. And so these people were just, I mean, it was horrible how these people were acting. I was ashamed to even be with my fellow man in that airplane, them acting any such way. So we got off, and of course there's a line at the ticket counter for us to get new flights and stuff like that. And just, people were being so rude. And so by the time I got to the counter, they were obviously ticked. And she was kind of being snappy with me. And I was like, look, this is bad, I know, and I'm sure you've been mistreated, but I'm not mistreating you, and I would ask you not to please mistreat me either. And so they got nice, but I can't imagine doing their jobs either. So the captain was literally helping. There was probably 8 people that was on wheelchairs on the flight, and he was up helping get people off of this plane. And I called him over, and I said, look, I'm sure you get blessed out a lot, because all these people were griping. And I told him, I said, but thank you for not taking off, because I did not want to leave my family at home without their mama. And so he said, he'd made a joke out of it, and he's like, well, I knew I could fly that plane on one engine, but it wouldn't have been a good ride. But I felt so bad. And just as the day went on, I was very keenly aware of people's attitudes around me. And it's just like, why do people have to be such jerks? I mean, everybody in life has got something going on. Everybody does. We do not have to mistreat each other. We do not have to talk that way to each other. I mean, it just breaks my heart. And so we were sitting in the airport for hours and hours, and it was just, I was just people watching. And so I started this piece, Do Everything in Love, because I'm like, we need to remember that. Like, if you're sitting around pow-mowing somebody else out, I mean, what good is it doing for you to run your mouth about something? It doesn't do any good at all. It just makes you look like the smaller person, because you can't keep your mouth shut and control yourself. So I'm stitching this on 25 count Lugana. I was doing 1 over 1 half cross here, and then I accidentally got the tail caught in the thread and started doing 2 here. So this one I started doing 2 over 1 half cross, and it's filling it in a little bit. But I'm okay with it having that like reddish pinkish look, because this has got 3 different tones of pink in it anyway. So I think once everything is done, you're not going to notice. So this one is just my reminder when I'm stitching on it of that trip. And then also, just don't be so mean to people. Don't be so rude to people. There is no need in it, and it doesn't help anything for you to act and behave that way. So anyway, the next one I think you guys are going to be happy to see. I haven't had it out in a while. And since we are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our nation, this one is on my hot and heavy list to get done this year. This is in my February stitching, and I hope to be able to ring the bell whenever I go to Stitch West. I've never got to go to Stitch West before. I was notified that I was off the waiting list and I could buy my ticket, so I bought my ticket, bought my plane tickets. The only thing left to do is to get my hotel, and that is in April. So my birthday is in April, and that is my birthday gift to myself. Last year, my birthday gift to myself was a cruise, and this year it is going on the Stitch West retreat. So I want to try to get this to where I'm ready to ring the bell at Stitch West because I think it would be so awesome. And I can get it framed and on display in my house for the 4th of July for our nation's 250th anniversary. So this is Lady of the Flag. And she is coming, I'm almost around the bottom of the flag down there. And what happened is I started this as a new stitcher, and so my count was off. And so I decided there is so much, like I'm gonna zoom in here. All of this in here, there's like 3 or 4 stitches so that this makes this look, you know, like it's deeper in places than others. But that is not as important as the big blocked pieces. So I'm coming in and I'm filling in, I'm going to fill in all the bottom of the flag here to her dress and up and make sure all of the outline areas are there. Then I'm coming in and putting these big blocked areas to where you would notice if something was off. So I'll do that with all the big pieces of red and white. And then I'll come in, since I'm off on my count, and fill in with these other colors to make all of that work. But the flag takes so much time because, again, there is so many color changes. So many in this, like right here in this white. This is actual white. This is blue gray. This is darker gray. This is very dark gray. I mean, there's just so much in here to make this look right. And even right here, there is this red, there's another dark red right here, and then this darkest red. There is a lot of color changing in here. So I got frustrated last night and I thought, I'm going to work a little bit up here on her neck and up onto her face because she's got the flag kind of in her hand here. And you can't see, like this is her skin color. Where's it at? This is her arm and this is stitched. Do you see how light that is with the fabric? So I'm a little bit concerned because the majority of her face is in that light color and I don't want it to get lost. One side of the face has back stitching on the edge of it and I may end up having to back stitch both sides of the face, but that's where we're at. As soon as I get her face done, her crown, and the flag, there is humongous sections in her dress and I think it will go so fast. But I am doing the green conversion, so I have to be really careful when selecting my colors because some of the colors right there at the flag and the dress that are so close to each other, you're like, okay, is this a part of the flag or is this a part of the dress? So that one I'm working hot and heavy on. So that is a good segue. That's all I have got stitched on this time. But that's a good segue into my plans for February. So plans for February. Stitching the Olympics. That's what I'm going to try to do. As a little kid, I watched the Olympics. I never understood them. I still don't understand them and haven't watched them since I was living at home. So I've got to figure out how all of this works. I was on the website last night looking that you can see the medals and stuff from the past day. But Brenda with Handwork Maniac is the one who is doing Stitching the Olympics. And I think it's video 132. You can go back and watch how she done it. It was her video from last year, exactly a year ago. So here is my goals. There is a daily 30 piece that I'm trying to stitch 30 minutes on. And the piece that I have selected for that will kind of be flexible. Right now, with it being winter, I'm going to try to do the Cozy Winter mugs. So let me put that on here. Cozy Winter mugs is the piece. So the goal is 30 minutes a day. If I stitch 30 minutes a day for 17 days, I get a gold medal. If I stitch for 15 days, a silver, and 13 days, I get a bronze medal. So here's the deal. I have to get at least a medal. That's the goal. So worst case scenario, stitch 13 days. I think I'm doing pretty good. So that's that one. The next one is my Olympic piece where I'm trying to stitch for 2 hours a day. And that piece is going to be my Lady of the Flag. So what I'm doing, if I stitch the 2 hours a day, I'm just putting the check mark. If it is less than that or more than that, I'm just going to write the time down. And then for 34 hours, I get a gold. 34 hours or more, I get a gold. For 20 8.3 hours, I get a silver. And for 22.6 hours, I get a bronze medal. So that will be my Olympic piece. So the 4th and the 5th activities were going, but opening ceremony is today on the 6th. So I will begin doing this today. And at the same time, I'm going to be learning more about the Olympics because I don't know anything about the Olympics. My favorite was figure skating as a kid, and that's all I watched. So it's going to be interesting. The next piece is my medals minutes. If I stitch on it for 15 minutes a day, I get a gold. 30 minutes a day, I get a silver. 5 minutes a day, I get a bronze. And this is going to be my whip go pieces that are called. So I have not looked at my numbers yet to know what those 2 projects are that I'm going to be rotating. But that is going to be here. So again, 4th and 5th. I just got all this done yesterday. So I didn't do anything except my Olympics piece yesterday. Okay, the next one is my alternate piece. This is if they call in an alternate player. If somebody gets hurt or they're sick or whatever, then I will also try to stitch on my alternate piece. And this is my stitch alongs right now. I have only got 1 stitch along, which is my Log Cabin Christmas. Fat Quarter Shop. She's doing them. I've already got the first 2 done, and I'm trying to outline all of them and then get the 3rd one. So I'm on January and February, I'm done with them, and I'm on track. March, I'm going to have to be caught up. So I need to get all of the borders done by the end of March so that when April comes, I'm ready to stitch the block and stay on track with them. No, I have a block to stitch in March. So I got to get all the borders done in February so that in March, I'm ready to stitch the March block with them. God, confused. So that is that one. So if I stitch 1 hour a day, I get a gold. Silver is 30 minutes a day. Bronze is 15 minutes a day. So some of these I can get medals each day. And some of them it will be at the end. All right, then my next piece is my full coverage piece. So I have never done a full coverage piece. I have got several pieces that I have purchased to do, but I have not done. So I don't know if I'm going to stitch just one or if I'm going to stitch a couple. I have a new piece of artwork that I'm charting. That is my artwork of Jesus. And so I may be starting it. I don't know. I know I'll start it at some point. But I have got several other full coverage pieces. So I will work on them as well. So if I do that, it'll probably be to do like 200 stitches a day in it if I get it. And then full coverage is not my huge jam. Maybe it's just because I haven't tried it. But we're going to see how that one goes. And then I think Brenda's doing one, the daily steps. If she gets 5,000 steps or more, she has another piece. That's just too much for me to stitch. So these are my goals. And number 5 is a loose goal. So 1 through 4 is pretty much what I'm going to focus on. 5 is just apple carts. It's just extra. So that is what I have got planned this year. I'm trying to focus on getting stuff done and getting stuff up. This next week, I'm going to focus on getting some stuff fully finished. I have got quite a bit of Valentine's Day pieces that I want to get fully finished and up and decorated. I'm still trying to get my cross-stitch room painted. I've been in the progress of moving my professional office, and so that's been interesting. Oh, and the best news of all is my son got engaged this last week, and so I will try to put a picture of that in here so that you can see. I'm so excited. They have been known each other for 8 years, been dating for 2, and then now they're engaged, and they're young, and they're not in any rush to do a wedding right now, which is completely okay with me. But it is so, I never could think of as a mom, how do you go from each stage in life? And, you know, from the time my kids were born, I couldn't imagine them being a toddler. And then I couldn't imagine them being in school. And then I couldn't imagine them being in high school. And then I couldn't imagine them driving. And then I couldn't graduate. You know, I couldn't imagine them graduating. And so it's just been cool because I've always prayed for my son's girlfriend, wife, whoever she would be. And it's just like, she's such a good girl. She is such a sweet soul. And they're so good together, you know. And then you look and you see some of their, you know, petty little things that they get on each other's nerves about. And you're like, did our parents look at us when we were newlyweds and see how pitiful we were being? Because I'm just like, look, y'all got to nip this in the bud. This is not worth y'all being aggravated at each other about. But anyway, it's so fun. Life is good. I love my kids, and I just grateful to be alive. So that is all that I've got with you today. I can't think of anything else that I have missed. I'll try to put some snow pictures here at the end and a couple of videos, and you can see what we had in North Carolina if you've made it this far. So I hope that you'll stick around and come back on the next video to see what we get done. All right, friends, I will talk to you later. Have a blessed week, and I hope you get tons of stitching done. Bye now.